Om Gam Ganapate Namaha. Kaliyugada Kalpataru. The Fifth Delight. Shri Raghavendra Gurusarvabhauma. Chapter 100. Shri Gururaja's Second Pilgrimage. After Shri Raghavendra Gurusarvabhauma ascended the throne of the Vedanta Empire during the 40 years of his pontificate, the great purpose for which Sudhindra Tirtharu installed him on the all-knowing throne and performing the coronation, Shri Gururaja as a supreme Paramahamsa fulfilled all those great tasks with extraordinary success in such a way that they would be inscribed in golden letters on every page of history for all times, and he became revered even by the illiterate and the commoners. Sri Raghavendra Swamigal became the pillar of the Dvaita Siddhanta by composing unparalleled commentaries that brought out the heart of the original commentators. He uplifted the traditional, uninterrupted lineage of Dvaita Shastra recitation and lectures, and composed world-renowned annotations, that is, tippanis, through which the philosophy of Tattvavada remained established permanently and without obstruction. With the help of his commentaries, he rendered Madhva Shastra discourses easy and widespread, greatly benefiting the community. He composed unique Veda Bhashyas that revealed the true inner meaning of the Vedas, which had been corrupted by foreign interpretations, thus fulfilling the primary objective of his incarnation. By writing universally acclaimed commentaries for the complete Madhva Bhashya and Tikas, he earned the unprecedented fame and reverence in the scholarly world as the Tippannacharya Chakravarti. In this manner, he successfully completed the principal task of the Jnanapita of Sri Hamsanamaka Paramatma with great dedication. At this time, hundreds of scholars and students had studied all Shastras, especially Vedanta, under Shri Gururaja, and gained recognition as eminent scholars. Shri Gururaja himself was deeply engaged in the teachings and giving lectures to hundreds of students. Hence, the primary aim of the Mahasamsthana, teaching and propagating the Vaishnava philosophy, continued in a well-organized and systematic manner. Shri Gururaja, through his unparalleled character, good conduct, and strict adherence to duties, served as an ideal and a guide to all the devout people. Thus, in one way, he had already fulfilled the primary responsibility of the Mahasamsthana. Consequently, Sri Gururaja felt a sense of satisfaction, contentment, and joy as he had fulfilled the responsibility entrusted to him by his Guru. Now, Sri Gururaja turned his attention to another duty. He felt it was essential to undertake a Digvijaya tour this time, with the goal of embedding the teachings of Indian Sanatana Dharma, the Vedas, the Upanishads, and other Shastras into the hearts of people across the world. He aimed to instill belief in metaphysical realities, in God and Dharma, to awaken moral behavior, righteous actions, ethics, goodwill, mutual friendship, and harmony in people, and to guide Indian society to live as righteous and Dharma-abiding citizens. Through this mission, he intended to undertake noble upliftment of the good, Sajjanara Uddhara, welfare of the world, Loka Kalyana, and display unprecedented miracles to awaken awareness of God's existence and the distinction of sin and virtue in humanity. Sri Gururaja entrusted the responsibility of managing the Vidyapita at Kumbakonam to the senior scholars Ramachandra Acharya and Anna Gururajacharya. He instructed the officials to make all arrangements for the journey to begin with great enthusiasm. Accompanied by Naranacharya, Venkatanaranacharya, Lakshmi Naranacharya, Krishnacharya, Govindacharya, and Venkanna, Vasudeva, Muddu Venkata Krishna, Vijayendra Purushomatacharya, along with other scholars, students, and family members, totaling hundreds of people with full honorific titles, decorative paraphernalias, and music grandeur. Shri Gurusarvabhauma, on the auspicious day of Kartika Shukla Trayodashi of the Subhakrut Samvatsara of Shalivana Shaka 1582, that is 1660 CE, commenced his Digvijaya, that is spiritual conquest, Yatra for the welfare of the world, starting from Kumbakonam. During the course of the pilgrimage, he visited villages and towns, received the services of the people, disciples, and devotees there, and bestowed prosperity by promoting social, religious, and spiritual development. He uplifted the downtrodden and afflicted, cured many who were suffering from diseases and calamities through the power of his penance and grace, fulfilled the desires of people merely by his compassionate glance, and eventually graciously arrived at Vijayanagara, that is Aniyugundi, on the Falguna Shukla Dashami. The local Vedic and worldly communities there welcomed Sri Gururaja with devotion and reverence. From Falguna Krishna Pratipada to Panchami, he carried out with great grandeur the Mahas Samaradhana, that is annual ceremonial worship of Sri Sudhindra Tirtharu, as well as the Aradhana worship ceremonies of Sri Vadiraja Gurugulu and Sri Chandrikacharya. During the same period, he also conducted a grand scholarly conference. On the day of Pratipada, early in the morning, he graciously visited the Navavrindavana and had a blissful darshana of the Vrindavanas of the founding gurus of the Mahasamsthana, Sri Padmanabha Tirtharu, Sri Jaya Tirtharu, Sri Kavindra Tirtharu, Sri Vagisha Tirtharu, Sri Vyasaraja Tirtharu, and Sri Sudhindra Gurugulu. Under his leadership, grand rituals like Panchamrit Abhisheka, that is 5 nectar libation, worship of Sri Moolarama, adornment of the Brahmins, feast, distribution of Tirtha and Prasada, and offerings were all carried out in extraordinary manner. Sri Gururaja offered all the scriptures he had composed, such as the Vedabhashyas and others, at the feet of the Gurus, from Sri Padmanabha Tirtharu to Sri Sudhindra Tirtharu, and offered his full prostrations. He then graciously visited the shrine of Sri Narahari Tirtharu, who was a direct disciple of Sri Sarvagna, Sri Madhvacharya. In accordance with the instructions of Sri Madhvacharya, Sri Narahari Tirtharu had brought Sri Moola Ramachandra Deva from the treasury of the Gajapati kings and handed him over to the Acharya. At the Vrindavana of Sri Narahari Tirtharu, Sri Gururaja installed Sri Moola Rama, Digvijay Rama, and Jayarama deities, performed a golden abhisheka, that is ritual bathing with golden coins, offered sanctified water, that is Hastodaka, received the sacred Akshata, that is consecrated grains, and fulfilled. On the Falguna Krishna Saptami, Sri Gururaja performed the Mahasamsthana Puja in the presence of the Vrindavana of Sri Raghunandana Tirtharu, offered sanctified water, that is Hastodaka, to Sri Raghunandana Tirtharu, installed Sri Moola Ramadeva on the Vrindavana, performed a golden abhisheka, and offered a grand arti. In the grand history of Sri Madhvacharya's Mahasamsthana, Sri Narahari Tirtharu and the exalted Guru Sri Raghunanda Tirtharu hold supremely significant and distinctive positions, and the wise one praised them as such. Sri Narahari Tirtharu, who brought the deity Sri Moolarama, worshipped by Brahma himself, and the personification of the Chaturyuga, from the treasures of the Gajapati kings, and handed him over to Sri Madhvacharya, thereby establishing that this deity would shine forth as the presiding worshipped deity of Sarvagna Mahasamsthana. After Sri Padmanabha Tirtharu, Sri Narahari Tirtharu himself were fortunate to have worshipped this deity for a long time. Sri Raghunandan Tirtharu, who was the sovereign of Sri Sarvagna Vedanta Empire, was uniquely blessed by Sri Moola Ramachandra, who became deeply fond of him and bestowed upon him extraordinary divine grace. And from that time on, this deity had been worshipped in the Mahasamsthana continuously through the lineage. Thus, Sri Gururaja's act of placing Sri Moola Rama upon the Vrindavanas of these two glorious universal monarchs among saints and performing the golden abhisheka is profoundly meaningful. At this juncture, it becomes absolutely necessary to narrate the glorious history of Sri Moolarama, who is worshipped daily in Sri Madhvacharya's Mahasamsthana by the universal sovereign Sri Raghavendra Gurugulu. Since Sri Raghavendra Tirtharu, who incarnated as Sri Prahlada, Vahikaraja, and Vyasaraja Tirtharu, descended to perform the worship of this very Chaturyuga embodiment, Sri Moolarama, it is only proper and fitting that the divine and supremely glorious history of such a great deity be understood. Hari Om. Om Sri Krishnarpanamastu.